Go.
Welcome back, folks. We're back again on Azure and .NET Fridays. Some of you have forgotten my name. My name is Pedro Mkonazi, a student ambassador at Microsoft, a beta student ambassador because there's milestones there. I'm guessing there. I know it's been a while. We haven't released an episode, but we're back at it again with another episode. On this episode, we'll be doing source control. We're doing Git and GitHub. Don't worry, those concepts might be a little bit shaky at first, but then on this very episode, you're gonna understand what is Git and why would you even need Git in the first place. And this episode is purely for beginners, right? So anyone can join in. If you're an expert who's been using Git for years, I'm sure you pick something up here. That I can guarantee you, right? So you pick something up. So anyone can join. If you're using Git for the first time, just jump right into it. So today I have my co-host Narcisse. Who's gonna be you know, being on the show. How have you been, buddy? It's been so long.
Yeah, I'm good, and you? It's really been quite some time
Yeah.
since we've aired on the show, and it's good to be back. I have to say. How are you?
Yes. Hey, I've been great. So I've just been waiting for this day to come, and then you know what? It's finally Friday, and the time. Also, time now is actually, the date is actually the 12th. We recorded on the date is of the 12th, so you guys will probably be watching this when we recorded today. But yeah, I mean, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, you know.
Yeah, I heard that you saying that we're doing some exciting stuff with source control, GitHub, and GitHub and Git. Well, what are all these things? Can you explain some further about it?
Oh yeah, very very good question, right? So for some of you who don't know what Git is, before we just start jumping into coding, open up code, start typing in nerdy stuff. What is Git? Let's start there. So basically, what is Git and GitHub? Because those are two separate terms. People confuse. They think it's the same, but it's not. Let's start with Git. So I would like to explain Git in three words: distribution, version, control. That's it. I'm done. I'm kidding, but basically, Git, as some people call it, source control, right? Git is a technology used to manage or control how you could be your application, your files, how files are managed, right? So a perfect example on what Git is. Let's say you have a small piece of paper, right? I come here, I write my name on it. I give Narcisse to write his name on the paper, and then now I give the paper to you, and then now you're wondering, okay, who wrote the names? You might be thinking it's probably me. I could have written both names. Narcisse could have written both of the names. Now with Git keeps track on who actually did what on that file or page or whatnot. So if it would keep track of that I wrote the name on that paper, and then Narcisse wrote his name on this paper at this time. It even records the time, even the time and the dates. So it keeps track of all of the changes of your files. So it doesn't necessarily have to be code. You can also use Git on text files, anything that has text on it, since code is text, So you can that's how you pretty much use Git. So today we're probably looking at basic things, how to use Git locally to manage your local files or code. And especially Git works better if you're working as a team when you're collaborating on a project. Could be your third year projects because we're students as we're doing our projects, so we use Git a lot to okay to have your teammates working on this. I'm gonna be working on this. We can track who pushed the bug, who made the broke the whole application even. Right? So we're going to be looking at what is Git pull, what is Git push, how to actually even add Git to your projects, how to even get started with Git, how to add Git to your projects. And mind you, we assume here that you've already had Git installed already on your PC. If you don't, you can just go to Google, open your Edge, and search in Git. The installation is there. It'll tell you how to install everything. So yeah, you've already installed all of that. And yeah, I mean, without wasting any time, let's just jump right into it. And also look at GitHub. And for all of those who know what GitHub is again, GitHub is a cloud version of Git. So you know how Git runs locally? It manages your source, like who did this on this file, who did what. Everything is running locally on your PC offline, no internet. Now you wanna save that and share that with your team. So you push it up in the cloud to GitHub, and then your team members can pull it from GitHub to their machines and work from it. And now we explain how all of those two platforms or universes communicate together, Git locally and GitHub. I'll leave it to Narcisse to give us, the intros. Just baby steps. We're learning here. We all beginners. So over to you, Narcisse.
Awesome. Thank you, Tori, about that. So As Tori mentioned, Git is just a file history checker. It just checks the history of your file and on all the changes that you've done. And to get started, like Tori said, if you don't have it installed, you just go to your Bing and you just search Git download. Git is to run on your local a remote desktop on your local machine, basically, and just download it and install it, and you should be fine for you to get started. So to get us started, we're gonna look at our major applications where we normally do our everyday stuff, which is Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code, there's GitHub Desktop, and there's also Git as well, and the command line. So there's like 5 platforms for us to take a look at. And I'll be looking at Visual Studio and GitHub Desktop, and I'll pass it over to Tori to look at the command line for you. So let us jump to Visual Studio. As you can see, this is the application that we made on Tuesday for AI Tuesday, the sentiment analysis and the language detector. As you can see, right? Um, as you can see, uh, as you can see, there's the application over here, and I would just want to jump into the corner over here. If you bear with me for a moment, um, bear for me for a moment. I just want to zoom in so you can see exactly my points. Exactly my points. So I'm looking for the zoom. So you can tell us some of the benefits about using Git while I load it for you, please.
Sorry, I lost you there. Can you repeat, please?
I'm saying, can you tell us some of the benefits of using Git?
Well, to elaborate more on what I said earlier on, so yeah, this is what Narcisse has as a project he built on Tuesday for AI Tuesdays. So let's say you guys want to have access to this project and you want to add some modifications or contribute, because remember, a lot of developers like to work on open source. What open source means, it means you can have your projects out in the world for either people who want to collaborate and make a few changes to the program, so we can push this to GitHub. As I said, GitHub is a cloud. It's like Google Drive for you guys, or OneDrive. Actually, it's like OneDrive. I like OneDrive way better. It's like OneDrive to put your stuff, but it's mainly used for code. You can put your documentation there also. It's also nice. But in case you guys want to collaborate or push this project to GitHub, it will be available to anyone to make changes to it. And remember, there's Git on the project, so they will know you made the change, and you get all the credit you want. So yeah.
Thank you for that, Tori. So I found what I was looking for. So as you can see, I've opened the application over here, and let's take out some of these overlays that we have. And I want you to pay attention to this corner over here. So we're on Visual Studio. So if you pay attention to this corner, we have something called add to source control and select repository. What are all these words? What does it mean? So add source control, it means you initializing Git on your project, and select repository. Repository is like a server or like a file where all the changes in your application will be tracked. So that's what you must take a note of. So now what we're gonna do is I just want to show you so you can see the difference. Here's the folder, my folder of the application. And if we zoom in, right? If we zoom in, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of folders in the application, right? So that's the source file. And now the moment I come to add source control, and look, if we zoom in, it says Git. So we want to initialize the Git into our project. So now when I initialize Git, mind you, that's why I said that you had to install Git on your laptop for it to pick up over here. And zooming in even more, you see I got GitHub, Azure DevOps, and other existing repository where I can clone. And then it tells me local initialize a local Git repository and the local path where to put my folder. And I can also do it on GitHub desktop as well. We're gonna on GitHub as well. So we're gonna focus on that. But for now, I'm gonna create a Git on our local folder and select it. So you see that's the folder, select folder, and then we're gonna push our code to Git. Um, push our code to get push push our code to get.
I think you need to sign in there.
Yeah. So now we're killing two birds with one stone. Killing two birds with one stone. As you can see, I'm signing into Git, authorized Git. So we're using the Inspire SA GitHub account, and it's been a success. And now it's signed in, and now, oh no, oh no. There you go. What's happening now?
Give it some time. Give it some time.
But I don't understand.
Make it public.
Because it's supposed to just push it like that, simple as that. Um, Let me try Git over here. Okay, GitHub account. So just putting it on pause for a while. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Told you. I told you she wait a little. I told you.
Okay. So I'm gonna edit that part where we took long. Just so there you go. You're gonna open your Git over here. So after opening your Git, after adding pressing add to source control, this notification is gonna pop up, and if you look closely, it's gonna show the location of the folder in which the location of the folder in which my application is stored in, as you can see. And then on top of it, it says create a new GitHub repository. So now Tori mentioned Git is locally and GitHub is for the cloud. So now what it's gonna do is gonna push on it's gonna create a repository locally for me, and it's gonna do the same thing on the cloud as well, killing two birds with one stone, as you can see. Now what we're gonna do is
Make it
just
public. Make it
uh,
public.
as, as you can see, as Tori is saying, there's private and repository. Private means you only can see it, and public, it means anyone can have access to it, right? And then it says push your code to GitHub. So that will be the link to your GitHub repository once it's been uploaded. So now we make it public for anyone can access it. Even Tori can access it if he wants. So now let's see the results. As you can see, it says 2 out of 0, and then there's a pencil, and then there's master, and then there's natural test. What do all these things mean, right? What do all these things mean? So now, as you can see, the up arrow means for push, and the down arrow means for pull, right? There's zero changes. Tori will explain more about that later, and we'll cover that. And then the pencil stands for the changes that have been made, and then the master is the main repository, like the initial repository. That's the name of the repository that we can do. There's also cloning and stuff like that. We're going to cover about that. And then most importantly, natural test. That's the name of my Git Git
Branch.
folder, as you can see.
The branch.
And now, yeah, my Git branch. Thank you for that, Tori. Thank you for that. And now let's go to our folder and see the changes that have happened. As you can see, there were 7, and now there's Git. There's one more folder, and this is the Git. So this is a very important file because it tracks all the changes that will be happening in this folder, in the application itself, etc. So you shouldn't delete this folder, because if you delete, you're gonna lose control of everything. And and there you go. It's as easy as that, of creating a Git repository from Visual Studio. It's easy as that. And now if we go into GitHub, GitHub, and see if we look at our repository. For before we go to GitHub desktop, we'll do is the exact same thing. GitHub, quickly sign into GitHub for you to see. And there you go. Simple as that. You see, the repository that we created locally has been created on GitHub with all the project folders inside on GitHub, and you don't have to worry about. So now, if Tori goes to that link, if Tori goes to this link over here, he'll have access to my code and he can work on it, and we can collaborate together and everything like that. It's easy as that. And to end off my part of the demo, we're now going to use GitHub Desktop, right? So what is GitHub Desktop? As I mentioned, GitHub is for the cloud, so they made a desktop application for to make it easy for us to upload our folders to GitHub. And how do you get it? You just go into your to Google and search GitHub Desktop desktop download, and you'll be able to download it. As you can see, it's easy as that. And then once you've downloaded it, you install it, you sign in with your GitHub account, and then there's tutorial. You can clone a repository from the internet. What does that mean? Clone a repository from the internet. So if we go back to our GitHub, let me close this one. If I go back to our GitHub, here's our GitHub. So you see this link over here that I have. This link over here. Once I just copy this link, I can paste it here, and it's gonna clone the repository that I have. I just put the link over there. It's gonna clone, or it's even gonna get the repositories that I have from GitHub. It's gonna fetch them, and I can choose which one I wanna clone from. And one more thing that I forgot as well, as you can see, open with GitHub Desktop, open with Visual Studio, and you can download the zip folder as well. So now, to how do you create a repository from your local machine? So just as simple as create a new repository, put the repository name. I'm gonna name it Tori because he's our host for today. Put a description. Hello, Tori, this is for you, and then in the folder that I want, right? So now we go to the document. So wherever folder, wherever you want to store your repository, I wanna put in my documents. I wanna put in a new folder named Tori because it is repository, and I select the folder, and then you can say initialize with a with a README, git ignore, and a license. I don't wanna include all of that. I just say create repository, right? Now the GitHub repository has been made. Over here, if you check, I can check all the changes in my folder, and it also gives me a history tab where I can see the history of all the changes that I've made on my GitHub repository. And then on top of here, it sort of tells us push your repository to GitHub. So if I press push repository, it's gonna upload my folder to GitHub, or I can view files in the Explorer. So to just end it off, I just say push to GitHub for you to see that is that the changes that we do here is gonna go to GitHub to finish off before I pass to Tori. So now it's confirming what I want to do to put the details for me. It's confirming the details that I want to put onto GitHub. So the repository name is Tori and the description, and keep this code private. No, I want to keep it public. So Tori can access his repository on GitHub as well.
So
Right?
we can collaborate.
Yeah. So now I'm going back to GitHub. I'm on GitHub now. Go back to the main the main page, and now as you can see, just look at this. I created two GitHub repositories, natural test and Tori. As you can see, it's easy as that. No, and I forgot, you can also come onto GitHub, the website itself, and just click over here, new repository or report repository. So the same thing that we did over here on Visual Studio on GitHub Desktop is the same thing that you can do on GitHub, the actual website itself. It's easy as that. And now I'm gonna pass it over to show us how to do, to Tori, to show us how to do with a command line. Over to you, Tori.
Wow, there was a lot of information there. I learned a lot myself. Since I'm not like I'm not of how do I put this? I like writing instead of like pressing buttons. So I was like, okay, wait, I can actually use Git and GitHub more easily with GitHub desktop. I'm like, okay, this is a game changer. I've used it before,
Mm.
but not like this. I'm like, okay, I'm learning stuff here, you know. But but I'm more of a CLI person, more of a CLI, but personal preference. You guys might like the desktop better, but personal preference, right? So I'm gonna pretty much do the same thing of what Narcissus did, but what I'll do, let me just share my screen so you see what I'm talking about. We're gonna create our own project from scratch because Narcissus is a project already created. Of which, if you don't know what it is, you can go to AI. You can go to AI Tuesdays and see the projects, right? So let me know what you see. You can see my screen now, sis.
It's loaded.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna create our own projects, right? So we're gonna create a simple Hello World project. And we can create, I would say let's create a complicated project, but I don't want to confuse everybody, because remember, this is for beginners. Bare metal, we learning Git and GitHub from scratch, right? So this is how we normally create a project on GitHub, right? So I'm gonna create a simple console application with .NET, since we're .NET people here. So this is the
Mm.
CLI. This is the preview version of the to call this Windows Terminal. Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot my tag. This is the preview version. It's more nicer, but so you can get it yourself. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a directory. I'm in desktop right now. Don't worry about my preview prompts. I learned that from Scott. So I'm gonna make a directory here. Make a directory and call it my app. So I'm making a folder where I'm gonna store my Hello World application, right? So I'm gonna go to that directory inside of there, and then I'm gonna make a control application. .NET new, .NET new console, console, and then now I'm gonna let .NET build my console application. If you look at that, it's running. To prove it's a console application, let me hide that. Sorry. Let's say .NET run so we can see that there's an actual application going on here. But firstly, let's open up the files. So if you check here, it's OBJ. It's my program.cs project. This program.cs where my actual code is for the Hello World application. Now let's run it. It actually runs, right? So .NET run. You should see Hello World coming up here. It's a simple, basic Hello World application that even you and your friends can go play around with. So we're gonna wait for .NET to create it. Would you look at that? Look at this. Look at this here. I'm not sure if you can see this. Look at this here. This is my Hello World application. This is the output here, Hello World. Right, simple Hello World application. Now let's say you want to add Git into this, right? So the first thing you do how to add Git on a CLI is mind you, this comment I'm going to type here, you can find online, the available, the open source, or even in the Microsoft Docs if you want, you can go check there. So first thing I'm going to do to add Git into my projects, because there's no tracking here. I can make changes here on my projects, and I can ask an assist to make changes here, right? So I'm gonna say Git in it, and then when you look at that, now I customize my preview prompts. I'm pretty sure you guys looking at my prompts. I'm like, okay, what is this? Why does this look different? So I customize my terminal to pick up if there's Git on that folder, and this is the name of the branch here at the top. This is the name of the branch. These are the changes here, and then these are the deletions here. These are the modifications here. That's how I customize my terminal, right? So here it picks up. Okay, fine. You've added Git. Git has been initialized to this file. Now it's gonna have a branch. By default, it names your branch master. On some people, it's main. You can call it whatever you want, but by default, it comes on as master, right?
One was
So it's
natural based.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now Caesar's natural says mine is master by default because I've never named it, right? So first thing I'm gonna add, since I've added Git, now I wanna add those changes into Git. Because if I say Git status, you see there's files that are not added. It says untracked files. They even highlighted red. It means these files are not tracked. So if I had to go make changes here, these changes are not gonna be saved or not recognized on who made them. So I'm gonna say Git. So I'm gonna say Git add, and I'm gonna say Git add. Now with the dot, what I'm doing, I'm saying Git add all the changes on this current directory or this current file or folder. The dot means that current one. So I'm gonna say dot, and then those changes are gonna be added. And then I'm gonna say Git. commit. Committing is pretty much saying, okay, fine, let me save these changes. And then here, because I'm going to add a commit message, it's like a save message. I'm going to do initial commit. And then there should be green. If you check here, look at all the changes, create mode, all of this. So it means all of my folders, all of my files were tracked, right? So we're tracked. If you check here, they even tell you how many insertions were added, 271 insertions on each file, right? So on 27 files, they added 276 things to track all the changes that are going to be made on that file. So if you check here, it's no longer orange because it shows, okay, here it shows the changes that were made. And then now it's green. It's okay, fine. Everything has been recorded. It's not, it's all nice, thumbs up. Now, let's say I want to push this to GitHub. Remember, GitHub, the cloud, where anyone can go find my code and collaborate. Now, this is running locally. To prove that this is running locally, in GitHub or Git terms, we like to refer to remote branches, or the cloud is the remote or the origin master. Right. So if I just type in git remote show, git remote show, you see there's nothing here, right? So what we want to do first, we're going to go to GitHub, create a branch to save, to push these changes to, so that anyone can access my project, right? So we're going to go to GitHub. I'm already on GitHub, so I'm going to create a new branch, and then I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it my app also. I'm going to make it public. I'm going to leave everything by default as it is, and then I'm going to say create branch. Create branch. So if you check here, look at this. Would you look at this? Even GitHub even tells you, like, hey, scroll down. If you're pushing from an already existing repository on the command line, these are the changes you need to make. And by the term repository, it's like a folder. In GitHub, we use the terms like, we use repository, it's like a folder or a bucket to dump in your stuff. So the repository I have is where my code is, or my project is, right? So the first thing I'm going to do, I have to connect these two worlds. If you check here, there's nothing. So the name of my repository, my remote repository is my app. There's nothing here. There's nothing. If you check, there's no code, no nothing. Whereas the one locally, look at all the files that are here. I can even open them up again and say ls. These are the files that are inside of here. These are all the changes that are here. But if you check on the remote one, there's nothing. So I want to connect these two worlds, the one on the cloud and then the one I have locally. So how I'm going to do that? They even tell you, that's the best part. GitHub and Git is well documented, right? So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to add this remote, because remember here, I said remote show, there's no remote. So the first thing I'm going to add here is I'm going to go copy this, and come back to the terminal. Let me clean this up. I'll paste this, Control V, paste this, and then press enter. This is the first thing, nothing happened. Now if I say git remote show, it's not showing. Okay. Oh,
Spelling error.
A spelling error. Spell remote. Sorry. Git remote show. When you look at that, there's origin now. Remember earlier on there was nothing. There's origin now. Now you must follow all the steps that are here. I'm making the remotes that I added as my master branches, my main branch that I'm going to be pushing to, or some will call it the upstream. So I'm going to copy this again, and paste it here, and then the last command I need to copy this one. I'm saying, okay, fine. This is going to be the main upstream branch that I'm going to be pushing to. The main. Anything else that I push to is going to be, it's going to come with a pull request. And we'll go further on later on other episodes on what's a pull request. But don't worry, that's beyond the scope of this episode. So I'm going to copy this also. And because now with this, I'm pushing all of these local changes to the remote repository, right? So if you check here, it's saying 32 done, it's pushing, it's compressing all the data, writing all the objects, remote resolving. You see now it's pushing all of the changes I have here to the remote branch, right? So if I had to go check here on the remote and refresh the page, if you check here, there's nothing, right? So if I had to refresh the page, I should be able to see my files or my code here on this repository. So let me refresh the page. We should look at that. And it even tells you when it was committed 4 minutes ago. 4 minutes ago. Would you look at that? It's 4 minutes ago, committed by me, myself. Initial commit, this is my commit message. So now, if we look at this, all of the changes I make here, I can just push them, right? So yeah, for instance, let me open up my application. Let me just open it up on VS Code. Let's open it up on VS Code so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna make a change and then I'm gonna push it to GitHub. I'm gonna make a change. So let me open it. Let's open it here. Hello world. Let's just say hello Narcisse. Oh, would you look at this also? First thing, this is .NET 6. Forgot to tell you guys, .NET 6 is out. No more namespaces. Look how clean this is. No more namespaces. But don't worry, we explained more of that on Monday, what's new in .NET 6. So I'm going to come here and say hello Narcisse. Narcisse. And then save this. I think this is saved. And then I'm going to come here and clean this up. Run my application. Run it. Should say hello Narcisse now. Shouldn't say hello world. And if you check here, look at my bar now. It's orange. It's saying okay, there's a new deletion. It's -1. Look at this. It shows a new deletion. Or it means edit because the minus for deletion, the plus is for additions. So there's a new edit on the existing text. Now it's saying hello Narcisse. Now this is not push. This is running locally. That's why this is orange. So I need to commit this. So I'm gonna say git commits. By committing, I'm saving. Git commit -m. My commit message. Added my friend's name. Yeah. Your friends, yeah. Added my friend's name. Add my friend's name. Oh, I forgot to git add. That's why these files are red. Okay, git add. Add.
So basically, update it remotely before you update it on the cloud.
Yeah. I need to. And firstly, I need to add git on the changes I made locally, and then push it to the cloud, right? And then now I'm gonna say git commit. -m. And then let me just take this. Actually, let me just do this. Much faster. No, look at this. It changed. It's saying, hey, there's a commit. It says one commit that needs to be pushed to the master or to the master branch remotely. If you look at this error, it's pointing up. That means it's to be pushed up the cloud. So if I say git push, it's gonna push these changes up to the cloud. These changes we pushed. Look, it's pushing them, and it's done. So if I go up here on GitHub, look here, these changes were made 6 minutes ago. So if I refresh, there should be a new change here. So I refresh the page. And then boom, added my friend's name now. See, this is made 36 seconds ago. So that's basically how Git works. I know, right? It was pretty simple, but that's pretty much it. There's nothing more to it. That's Git. Now you can go on and collaborate with your friends. And also this project is public. You can also go open with your friends, pull it locally, clone it, and you can see what's pretty much there. That's Git. I can't believe we're done like that.
So you must just join us for part 2 next week, where we'll be elaborating more of some of the terminologies that we used, and we'll see how Tori will have access to my code and how I'll have access to Tori's code, and how we can work together. Even though he's there, I'm here, we can still work together and work on the same code as if we're in the same place. That's the beautiful thing about Git and GitHub. There you go.
Yes, that's pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much for today's episodes on this Friday. But next week, we make sure we go and dive in deeper on how to actually collaborate. Because today we told you how to keep track of the changes and connect your local code with the one on the cloud. So next week, we'll try to make sure that we show you how to actually collaborate with your friends. And we hope to see you guys next time. Thank you for attending. We appreciate those subscribers and likes and comments. And please, if you have any questions, you can reach us on our social platforms on Twitter, Facebook, and sometimes on Instagram, but mostly Twitter. That's where we're at. But yeah, That's pretty much. I think we can wrap this up here today, buddy. What you think?
Yeah. Just one more thing. To see the way Tori was using all those command lines and everything like that, all those prompts, you can find them on the web. We'll try and put some links for you to access those codes, so it doesn't be all confusing and everything like that. But other than that, from us at the Inspire SA, we'll see you next week.
Until again, people.
Mm-hmm.